Today I'm going to create 2 more eye looks with the new Huda Beauty Icy Nude palette, so let's get right into it. For the first look, I think I want to do something a bit softer, a little more everyday, so I'm going to start with First Class on a fluffy crease brush. I'm going to blend that throughout my entire crease. I did dip back into that shadow and I'm going to build it up a little bit more. And I'm making sure I'm placing this shade all the way from my inner crease and here all the way towards my outer crease. And I'm kind of doing a slightly rounded shape. On the same brush, I'm going to pick up Cold Plunge and I'm going to use that to soften out the edges of First Class. So I am placing the shade a little bit higher. I'm pretty close to right underneath my brow. Now I'm going to pick up more First Class and add that to the outer half of my eyelid. Now I'm going to switch to a smaller crease brush with more First Class and run that across my entire lower lash line. On that same brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of faux fur and I'm going to use that to deepen up the very outer part of my lid, kind of in my outer V area. Now this shade is pretty deep, so that's why I only picked up a little bit of this shadow. You want to start with a light hand and you can build this up as much as you want to. And then to soften any edges, you can always go back to the crease shade, so I'm going to take First Class. I'm just going to blend a little bit of that around faux fur. I'm going to add a little more faux fur to the outer part of my lower lash line. And then again, you can soften with First Class as needed. Now I'm going to take Gold Standards on my finger, and that's going to go on the entire inner blank part of my eyelid. I'd say that this is a pretty soft shimmery shade. It doesn't have a lot of like reflect or little glitters in it. Then I'm going to go back to my fluffy crease brush and just very softly blend around that shimmer. Okay, that little bit of blending kind of removed the entire shadow from my eyelid, so I think I'm going to add a base. I'm going to add a little bit of a clear eyeshadow primer. This one's by Pat McGrath. I'm going to try that Gold Standard shade again. There we go. Yeah, this shade definitely needs something to stick to so you get that full impact. I mean, if you like the softer look, you can totally do that if you want, but I like my shimmers to really pop. Now I'm picking up just a little bit more First Class, and I'm gonna place that right where the shimmer is meeting the deeper outer corner, just to give me a little bit of a transition here. I wanted to keep this look nice and soft, so I'm going to wear just mascara, no lashes. And for my mascara, I'm wearing the e.l.f. Lash and Roll. And then I did add just a tiny bit of this Makeup Forever eyeliner in my tight line area, kind of right at the base of my top lashes, kind of to act as a liner, but just to give some thickness at the base there. And this is the Makeup Forever eyeliner in Whatever Black. And then there's not a really good highlighter shade for me in the Icy Nude palette, so I just grabbed one of my go-to highlighting shadows, and that is the shade Bright from my palette with Sigma, and I popped that on my inner corner and right under my brow. And here's the final close-up of the first look. Now let's get started on the second look. Now for my second look, I think I want to do something pretty glam, focused around that Diamond Dew shade. I'm going to start with Lavish on a fluffy crease brush, and I'm going to blend that throughout my entire crease. And I'm going to build up this shade until I'm happy with the amount of pigment that I have. Then I'm going to pick up a little bit of IDGAF and I'm going to use that to soften around the edges of Lavish. So far, this is pretty similar to how I started the first look. I like to lay down my crease shade and then blend it out with the lighter shade, just to give me a really smooth blend. Now I'm going to take a firm shader brush with more Lavish, and I'm going to add that to the outer corner and inner corner of my lid. And I'm leaving the center of my eyelid blank for now. And with that same brush, I'm going to stamp Lavish across my entire lower lash line. Now with that same brush, I'm going to pick up Poised, and I'm going to use that to deepen up the outer and inner corner even more. So by deepening up the inner and outer corner, I'm giving my eye a halo effect. And then I'm also going to bring Poised along my entire lower lash line. And then I'm just going back to my fluffy brush and softening that out. Now that I have this matte base down, let's add some shimmer. Now I am going to lay down a base again because Diamond Dew is kind of a chunkier shade that I think is going to have a bit of fallout. So for this, I'm going to use the NYX Glitter Primer. So I'm just placing that primer on the very center of my eyelid and then picking up Diamond Dew, and I'm tapping that on top of that primer. This shade is so metallic, it's kind of crazy. So I laid down that shadow, but I don't want it to look super harsh. I feel like you can just see this very stark line of where that shadow stops and starts. So I'm just going to take a small, clean, fluffy blending brush and just very softly blend around the edges of that shimmer. So now those edges just look a little bit less harsh, but wow, this shade is so intense. Now I'm going to pick up just a little bit more Poised on my firm shader brush and re-add that to the outer and inner corner just to intensify it a little bit more. Now I'm going to take the shade She's Rich on a small angled brush and stamp that across my entire top lash line. I want this look to be pretty intense, so I'm also going to add that shade to the base of my lower lashes. Now I'm going to add a black liner to my waterline. I'm using that same Makeup Forever one. I went ahead and popped on a lash for this look just because it is so glam. And for this lash, I'm wearing the Bright Lashes style in all Naturel. It is a pretty long lash. It does touch my eyebrows when I look up, but out of all of my longer style of lashes, this one is the most natural looking one because it's the least full throughout. And here's the final close-up of the second look. Alright, and then here's just a quick side-by-side of both looks. We have two totally different looks going on right now. I did want to point out though, with both of the shimmers that I used on each eye, I did get quite a bit of fallout with each of them, but especially on this side with this Diamond Dew shade, I do have quite a few sparkles just under my eye and on my cheek right here. Personally, I don't really mind the sparkle fallout just because you have to be really close to my face to be able to see that, but I know that that's a deal breaker for some people. I had so much fun creating two more looks with this palette. Let me know which one is your favorite, even though they are two very different styles for very different occasions. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.